Hi and welcome to Craggle. We develop tools for the visual effects industry. This is a documentation video on smartCache, our tool that makes caching inside Nuke an automated one-button click solution. Cache nodes can be checked on validity on a frame-by-frame basis, and outdated frames can be re-rendered on the fly, either by rendering them locally in the foreground or multi-threaded in the background. Additionally, smartCache offers a cache manager to keep track of all your caches in your working file. But first, let's install smartCache and then let's explore all of its features. Like any other Craggle product, smartCache can be installed with Craggle Connect directly inside Nuke. For more information about Connect, please visit the link below. So open Connect and drag smartCache to the right to reveal more information. Just click on Buy and you'll be located to the webpage where you can purchase smartCache. After purchasing, receive a mail including an install code. Now simply click on Install, enter your received install code, or use your Craggle user account credentials, and smartCache will be installed automatically on your machine. Now if you have a Craggle Studio license, you can also simply switch over to the Studio tab and click on Manage Installations, log in here as well, and install smartCache from here. After the installation is finished, smartCache can be accessed via Nuke's menu bar. Just click on Craggle, and in here you'll now find a new submenu smartCache. So let's now see how smartCache works. For that, we'll use a simplified example working file. Here we have a background element, and we put two elements on top of it. Let's make our working file faster by caching elements before adding them to our B pipe. Caching is pretty simple. Select the pre-mount node, hit Tab, and enter smartCache. The smartCache node gets created, and since we selected a node, it got automatically connected into our pipe, and the render dialog shows up, ready for rendering. In the dialog, choose the frame range to render. Choose from Input, which is the frame range of our upstream source, Global, which is the global frame range as defined in our Nuke root, or Custom to define a custom start and end frame to cache. We can choose to render the cache node in the foreground or multi-threaded in the background using Smart Render. For that, you'll need to have Smart Render installed on your machine. Click the Render Locally button for now. Once the rendering has finished, the cache node would automatically switch to cached state, so that your working file reads now the cached version and playback becomes much faster. You can easily switch between live node connection and cached version mode using the live and cached buttons in the cache node's properties. By the way, the cache node does not contain any not changed callbacks, as this could potentially slow down your working file. Let's also cache our pre-mult2 node in our working file, so everything upstream from that node is cached as well. Select the pre-mult2 node and create a cache node. Besides using the tab key, we can also create a cache node via the Nodes menu. And as you can see here, the shortcut is Shift and C. And you also find it here in the menu bar. Set up the frame range to render as needed. Now if you have Smart Render installed on your machine, then click the Send to Smart Render button. The rendering gets sent to Smart Render in the background, while you can continue working without being blocked. The current render progress can be seen at the bottom left. Once the rendering has finished, that cache node gets also automatically switched to cached. Now let's say we need to tweak some frames in our first element. Navigate back to that section and adjust our grade 3 node. Let's say up to frame 1005 we need a different gain as the lighting changes over time. Set a keyframe on frame 1006 to hold the value after the fact. And another one on frame 1005 and adjust the gain to your needs. So now we have different knob values on frame 1001 up to 1005. And let's say we need another fix on another frame. Let's say just 1015. Adjust the size to your needs. Once we're done with our tweaking, open the properties for the smartCache node and click the Check Cache Validity button. smartCache detected changes on these frames, so frame 1001 to 1005 and 1015, and the cache node switches to out of date mode. It now offers you the previously seen render dialog, now reporting these frames have changed. The frame range option is automatically set to all outdated frames, to render only what went out of date. Click the Render Locally or Send to Smart Render button to render your out of date frames. And the cache is back in business now. Now if you add additional nodes or remove some nodes and check the cache validity, then this affects the whole frame range of course, which you can then re-render easily. Undoing these steps brings our cache back to an up-to-date valid state. Note that there are certain nodes and knobs that you can change upstream which will not affect the cache validity. As an example, changing any node position does not break anything. Also creating dot nodes or no-op nodes in between any upstream node connection. And for example, also setting label information, etc. Adding nodes that change the output image will cause an out-of-date mode. The exact nodes and knobs to ignore from the hash checksum of your caches can be configured in the smartCache settings, which we'll see in a minute. smartCache offers a caching manager to view all your caches in your current working file. The caching manager can be launched straight from any smartCache node by clicking the Open Cache Manager button. Alternatively, you can also launch the Cache Manager from the menu bar, Craggle, smartCache, Open Cache Manager. The Cache Manager shows all your cache nodes in your current working file. In here you can select one or many cache nodes and switch them to live or to cache mode as needed. Render them and check their cache validity. Select a cache in the table and press the center button at the very left, or F or Enter on your keyboard, or simply double-click a row to jump to that cache node in your node graph. At the top right, click the Settings button to access the smartCache settings. In here you can adjust smartCache to your needs. Here you can check the cache validity on all cache nodes once you launch the Caching Manager. You can define a sound to play once your caches finish rendering, or use your own custom sounds. You can also configure where to cache to. By default, smartCache renders to a caches folder next to your current working file, but you can adjust that here to a different relative or also an absolute path. Additionally, you can set the cache status colors to your needs here. And as mentioned previously, you can adjust the nodes and knobs to ignore from the hash sum creation. For that, navigate to the Ignore tab. smartCache already defines a few default nodes and knobs to ignore, but you can adjust this list to your needs to define exactly when a cache should go out of date. For more information about the settings, as well as detailed information about smartCache itself, please also have a look at our written documentation. So this was a documentation video on smartCache, our tool that makes caching inside Nuke an automated one-button click solution.